everyone, and welcome to another reading vlog. Today I am going to be doing a little 24-hour readathon. This is just my own personal thing. I'm literally the only one doing this, but at this point it's basically like an 11-hour readathon because it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon, which if you've seen any of my other reading vlogs, you know that that is like not surprising at all for me. But the point of this little readathon is to try and catch up with my Goodreads reading challenge. So basically, long story short, at the beginning of the year I set my challenge to 80 books because I read like 81 books last year, so I thought I'd be able to do it, but I wasn't, and I ended up falling behind like 15 books behind schedule, so I decided to set it back to 70 books, which is definitely doable, but I really want my challenge to be higher than it was last year, so I'm thinking of upping it to 75 books. So in order for me to read 75 books this year, this means I have to read 10 books in November and 10 books in December, which is doable because last month I read 11 books. So in order for me to do that, it's about the 13th of November now, which means I should be at the like 4th or 5th book read this month, and I've only read 2 books this month so far. So that's basically the goal, is just to try and catch up and get to like 5 books read this month so far, which hopefully I'll be able to do because the book I'm currently reading I am almost done with, and that is Bright We Burn by Kirsten White. This is the 3rd and final book in the And I Darken trilogy, and I am loving this series, but I'm really loving this book. This is definitely my favorite in the trilogy, but at the same time, this book is absolutely killing me because it's a super character-driven book, and I'm a very character-driven reader, and I have never been like so fascinated by a cast of characters before, but I'm also like so attached to them, and they are not getting through this story unharmed, and it is really hurting my heart. But at the same time, I'm just really loving this book. So I'm like less than 30 pages from the end, and unless the last 30 pages are like awful, this is going to be a 5-star read. So I'm going to finish up this book, make myself some lunch, and then get started on my second book for the day. So I will update you when I get to that point. Well, my heater is running in the background, so I'm sorry if that's kind of loud, but I just finished Bright We Burn, and something rather unfortunate has happened. Because the point of this little readathon was to try and read as many books as possible, but now I just want to sit and think about this book for the rest of the month. I loved this book so much. It might possibly be my favorite book that I've read this year so far. I just really loved these characters, and I don't think I realized during the first and the second book just how much I loved them, and I think I gave those books 4 stars each. I think if I went back and reread them, they would also be 5-star reads because I just absolutely love them, and I want to stay and read their story forever. And I'd be lying if I didn't say I kind of want to cry right now, but I'm filming and I don't want to ruin my makeup, so I'm not crying, but I want to. I don't know what to do now because I could like read more, but the thing is, when you read a book like this and you really love it, whatever book you read next just isn't going to be that good, because even if it is a really good book, it won't hold a candle to this book. I don't know what that phrase is or why I just said it, but hopefully it was right. Do you know what I'm saying? Because it's just like no other book is going to be able to hold up to this book, at least for like today and like tomorrow maybe. So that's where I'm at right now. I'm not really sure what book to pick up next because I don't want to like hate it. So there is a book I do have in mind that I'm going to talk about in a second, but first I'm going to throw some mini tacos in the oven and start making my lunch, and then I'll come back and talk to you about this next book. Alright, so mini tacos are in the oven, so now I'm going to talk to you about this other book that I was planning to read, and that is October Kiss by Kristen Etheridge. This is based on a Hallmark Channel movie, which I have seen maybe 2 Hallmark Channel movies in my entire life, and they are just not the movies for me. But I can handle them and borderline enjoy them in book form, so I decided to pick one of these up. Obviously, I'm a bit late to the game. Should have read it in October, but better late than never. So like I said, I guess this is the perfect book to read right after reading that book because I don't plan on super enjoying this anyway, so if I hate it, I'm not gonna feel that bad. But let me just read you the back to tell you about this book. So it says, Poppy's tried a lot of things. Yoga instruction, pizza making, which I've never heard of that as like a hobby before, like pizza making, but alright. So far none of them have seemed like her thing. Still, she doesn't have to know where her life is headed to live it with enthusiasm. Ever since his wife's death, Ryan throws himself into his work. Launching a successful new app will secure his children's future, even if it means he can't spend much time with them now. As a short-term nanny for Ryan's children, Poppy brings some much-needed fun and laughter. She's never been one to commit, so why is she feeling so attached to these children, and even more to their dad? Could it be she's found her place at last? Yeah, so basically I'm expecting this to be like a really bad modern version of The Sound of Music. And if I don't get that, I'll be really disappointed. Sorry if the camera angle keeps changing. I have a makeshift tripod with some candles and it's just not really working out that well. But yeah, this is what I plan on reading next. Like I said, I don't expect to super love it. The real reason I want to read it is because it's pretty short. It's less than 350 pages, so I should be able to get through it pretty quickly and then start on a third book for the day, fingers crossed. So yeah, I can kind of smell mini tacos burning, so I am going to go get those out of the oven, start reading this, and then I'll tell you a bit more about it once I actually get into the story and see what's going on. So it's almost 4 o'clock now. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of procrastinated reading by watching a lot of YouTube videos, but I am currently about 92 pages into October Kiss, and yeah, it's about as bad as I thought it was going to be. Like, it's not horrible, and if it continues as it's going, it'll probably be like a 2-star read. I don't completely hate it, but it's just also not that good at all. It does have that kind of Sound of Music feel to it. They put something on her chair. It wasn't a pine cone though, it was a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, so it has that going for it. The only thing that I wish was more prominent in this book, because it's clearly supposed to be like romance, is the actual romance. I wish it was more prominent. I wish the two characters actually had any kind of chemistry. Like, you don't really see that at all. It's just very sort of insta-lovey, and it's just right now, like, these 90 pages have focused a lot on just her and the kids. So yeah, I wish it had more of the romance to it so we could actually see them like grow together instead of it just being like an insta-lovey feeling. But yeah, that's how it's going so far. I think I'm going to go get a snack or something. I'm a little chilly, so I think I'm going to change into a sweater, light a nice candle, and just continue on reading this book. So I'm now about 150 pages into this book, and it's not really getting any better. I don't want anyone to think that I'm like seeking out books that I know I'm not gonna like. Like I said, sometimes I can actually enjoy these books for their cheesiness, because I think everybody needs a little cheese in their life every once in a while, but this book, on top of being cheesy and unrealistic, is just plain boring right now, and the characters are just very stereotypical. They're very surface level. You don't ever get to know them, so it's hard to find any kind of investment in their story if you can't invest in the characters. So yeah, it's just kind of boring at this point. So yeah, I am gonna make myself some dinner now, because I also have like a pretty bad headache, and I think it's probably because I'm really hungry. So I'm gonna make myself some dinner, then I'm going to read some more of this. I think I have only about 100 pages left of this, so then I'll be done with this, and I don't really know what I'm going to pick up next, because I honestly didn't think I would actually get this far. So we'll just have to see what draws my attention after I finish this pretty terrible book. So I have made my dinner of some pasta, which looks a bit nasty, but now I'm going to watch an episode of The Sweet Life on Deck on Disney+. I am way more excited for this than I should probably admit, but this is one of my favorites as a kid, and it's been way too long since I've seen an episode, so I'm gonna do that tonight, and I'm really happy about it. So it is about 7 o'clock in the evening, and I am about 180 pages into this book. It's still pretty boring, but like the romance is like becoming a bit more of a thing now, and so I'm enjoying that aspect of it a little bit more, but still not any more than like a 2 star rating right now. So yeah, I am actually going to hold off on this book for like an hour. I definitely still want to finish it before the night is out, but I just want to take a little bit of a break because it is kind of really boring. And I'm instead going to read a little bit of Love, Lucy by Lucille Ball. This is her like memoir slash autobiography. I've really wanted to read this, so I think I'm just going to pick it up and read it for a little bit tonight. And I'm also going to make myself a cup of hot cocoa, or at least I'm going to attempt to. I'm the only person in the world that could screw up making a cup of hot cocoa, but it might happen. So yeah, that is what I'm going to do. I'll make my cocoa, I'm gonna read a little bit of this, maybe watch another episode of The Sweet Life on Deck, because I might be watching that until like 4 o'clock in the morning, if I'm being completely honest. But yeah, that is what I'm doing right now, so let's make some hot cocoa. I'd love to be able to just use like the Keurig, but I'm gonna do it the old-fashioned way with a kettle. I'd actually love to be able to do it with like milk, but I just don't think that's within my power of cooking. I also just lit the wrong burner, if that's any indication, and my books almost got set on fire, so that's fun. But also, this is not just any hot cocoa, it is candy cane cocoa, which is by far my favorite kind, like peppermint cocoa, anything like that. I love the minty hot cocos. I used to get it when they had it at Dunkin' Donuts. I don't even know, do they still have it at Dunkin' Donuts? Because I could like get that on my break at work, but also I'd probably get a stomachache every day. But yeah, basically what I'm saying is I love peppermint hot cocoa. So now I have to pick out a mug, which is like one of the hardest choices you have to make in your adult life, honestly. I also don't use any of my Disney mugs. They are purely for collecting purposes because I'm way too terrified of like the paint chipping off or anything like that. So most of the mugs that I actually use have like animal faces on them. I just don't know which one I want to go for tonight. It kind of feels like a Christmassy night. I feel like he's got the cutest face out of all of these also, so I'm gonna go with this little reindeer. And the finishing touch, just a little bit of whipped cream. Actually. So it's a little after 8 o'clock at night, and I think I'm going to end this little 24-hour readathon here. Tragically, I didn't actually end up reading any more of this tonight because I just have like a really bad headache and it's been progressively getting worse, so I think I should probably just take a break from reading for the rest of the night and like rest my eyes. Less than 100 pages from the end, so I should definitely be able to finish this tomorrow, which will for the most part catch me up with my reading so far. I think I might make this into like a little series of doing these little 24-hour readathons, and I thought about calling them tiny-a-thons because I'm the tiny book dragon and this is a tiny readathon. So yeah, I did read like 20 pages of Love, Lucy, and I am super enjoying this, so I feel like this is something I could fly through pretty quickly as well, like tomorrow and the next day, and then that will definitely catch me up on my reading challenge. So yeah, that basically completes this little readathon. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give them a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!
You hear that, Samson?